Hello and welcome to another episode in my Warhammer 40k Conquest series. In this episode we are going to be building our Plague Surgeon, so stay tuned. So before we get started, please do make sure that you click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and the bell icon next to it so you get all the notifications for when I upload a video. Also, down below there'll be a link to my Patreon and my PayPal accounts, so if you want to support the channel, there's a great way of doing it there. Now, let's get on to building this pesky Plague Surgeon. Okay, so before we get started, make sure that you have your sprue ready and you have all the tools that you need, so your clippers, your glue, make sure you got the base as well, that's very important, your mold line remover as well. Familiarize yourself with the instructions as well. Here you can see I've got some super glue as well, and I've got some additional tools just in case I feel like chopping it up or just getting creative with it. So yeah, familiarize yourself with the instructions. Remember, it is going to be numbered pieces put together roughly in order, so just have a good look around and try and find those numbers to those pieces. Once you're familiarized, you can then start clipping them out, and then yeah, while you're doing that you can admire the detail, because holy moly do I like the detail on this miniature. Also, if you've got any leftover bits from the Primaris Apothecary, then you can have a look at where you could add those extra bits and just make it a little bit more unique, which is always good. So get started. Clippers, as always, you clip as close as you can, keeping it neat, and it's the flat side you want against the model, and try not to force it. You know, if it's not coming out the sprue, then you know you might need to clip a bit harder. And then you get your mold line remover and you just start scraping away those bits where you clipped it, and any mold lines that you see, though to be honest there's very few on the model. As you see, I ordered them in number order, just for fun. It's good always to sort of dry fit and see how it's going to go together. The first pieces to put together is actually the head and the front of the model, so just have a look there and see what it looks like. It's always good to see if you've got any options for turning the face or anything. With this model you don't, because the back of the head actually has the rest of the cowl, which is attached to the rest of the body. So just put a little bit of glue in there, pop it in, and carry on with all the steps. Remember not to use too much glue, but also make sure that I found that this bit you get a tiny little gap, so just put enough on there to put it together, but also put it close to the edge so it runs over, and then that way you can use the power of that plastic glue to melt the plastic a little bit so it fills in that gap, and you can just spread it along with either your fingers or with the mold line remover. I would use the mold line remover because then you don't get the fingerprints, and you just carry on with putting the pieces together. So again, don't use too much, just use enough, and any areas where you feel like there might be gaps, just put it closer to the edge just so you can use that technique to fill the gaps out. Now it's usually at this stage that I have a look and see what kind of poses I could do. Now the model is in a fixed pose. You've got like quite a large pin to hold it in place, but there's nothing stopping you from trimming that down and then reposing it, just trying to sort of mix it up a little bit, because if you do have multiples of this model, it's always good to just mix it up a little bit and sort of see how many ways you can vary the pose of the model to make the most out of each one. So you just play around with it. If you like it, just clip the little bits out that you need to, line it up, glue it up, and if you're confident enough, then that's the only thing that's stopping you really from exploring more options. And then of course you do a little super glue on one of the feet to hold it onto the base for when you paint it later. So there you have it. So as you can see, it is quite a simple kit, not too much to really do with it. It's not that delicate either. It's quite robust. There's a couple of spindly bits, but as long as you don't throw it around, it's not going to break on you anytime soon. And of course, if you want to do conversions or add little bits, you can. There's also the option, if you've got leftover parts from your Primaris Apothecary, you can always add those onto the Plague Surgeon as well, just to really make it stand out. Before we go, please do make sure you check out Big Mac Dan's Skull for the weekly reviews, and he really expands the lore and everything of the brand new issues that come out. And he also does a little painting showcase every week, so definitely worth a check out if you're into alternative Death Guard paint schemes, or if you're into Imperial Fists. So, with that done, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.